Hi, you guys. Welcome back. This is our second part to our series of everything credit, right? We're talking about all things credit, what you can do to improve your credit, what you can do um, to get your credit started, to continue to maintain good credit, uh, how to avoid interest and late fees and finance charges, how to pick the best credit cards. So, our first episode, we talked about how you would start to build your credit, and you can catch that video on my channel. That was episode 1. This is part 2. So, in this episode, we will be discussing how to avoid um, finance charges, interest payments, late payments on your credit cards, and just making your minimum payments. So, for a lot of us, if you're anything like me, I hate to pay interest, I hate to pay finance charges, I hate to pay late fees, anything extra outside of what I have borrowed, right? Or what I've spent as far as on my credit cards. So, a couple of different ways you can avoid those interest payments is make your monthly payments on time. So, let's say you have your credit card and you always want to keep your credit usage under 30%. Less than that if you can. If you can keep it under 15%, to where you only owe 15% of that credit card, the less the better. But most times they tell you that to keep a balance on the card shows a revolving credit, but you definitely don't want to have it maxed out. You don't want to owe half of what you have. So they always suggest that you be at 30% or below what you owe on your card. So that is to just maintain that revolving line of credit is open and that you're utilizing the card. And it also helps to limit the amount of interest that you would pay as well. Because, of course, as you know, the more that you owe on the card, the more the interest is. You know how sometimes you can have a balance on the card that's $100 and they tell you your minimum payment is $15. Well, if you owe $1,000, then your minimum payment could be slightly higher. It could be $100. It could be excessively higher. So that also impacts what you would have to pay for your minimum payment, the amount that you owe on your card. Another thing that I don't think a lot of people know is about cash advances. Cash advances, when you get cash advances on your credit card, I know for me, I skim the terms and conditions because it's just so much to read. But I do always look at if it's an annual percentage. If it's an annual fee or what the percentage rate is, interest rate. And I also look at, if they charge me anything monthly for having the card. And if I have to get cash, how much it is to get the cash advances. Those are the top things that I look at. Everything else I'm just kind of skimming through because it's just so much information to read. So just a quick thing about the cash advance. I had did a cash advance, and I don't normally do cash off of my credit cards, but for whatever reason I needed to do cash. Did $250 in the month of May. Took it out at the ATM. Well, I looked at my thing and it says you will be charged the 10%. It says either $10 or up to, might have said 10% of the amount that you took out. So $25. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to, just pay the $25. I'm thinking it's a $25 one-time deal for taking out the $250 in May. So I don't often look at my, credit statement every month because I know what I spend. I keep it all tallied up, and I'm thinking, okay, that was back in May. And I was making payments on it because I may have owed other things on the card other than $250. So I was just making my payments. I'll make $100 payment, make 150. Just making the payments. So in September, look at my statement, and I see that I'm still being charged cash advance fees for a cash advance. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't take out cash except for in the month of May. So why is it still charging me a cash advance fee? Called the customer service number, and the young lady explained to me that when you take out a cash advance and you don't pay that amount in full the following month, that every month that $250 wasn't paid in full, you're being charged cash advance interest, which I did not know, which I was really, really upset about, because I don't like to pay unnecessary interest or late fees or anything like that. And I don't know if it was just a breakdown in what I read or what I interpreted from what I read, but I was still paying a cash advance fee on cash I had gotten 4 to 5 months beforehand. So wasn't really happy about that. So I figured out a workaround for the cash advances. So what I did was, for those of you who want to try to avoid the cash advance fee, I created a PayPal account. PayPal lets you put in your credit card or your debit card, and you can send money to a friend, and it comes through as a transaction, like a purchase, opposed to a cash advance or withdrawal, or something being turned into cash. What you do is you set up your PayPal account, and my sister has a PayPal account, and so I'll say, hey, I'm gonna send you $200, and then she'll accept it, cash it out, or send it to me a different way, and I get the money without having to pay the cash advance fee. See, you didn't know that. So, because I'm always looking for a way to save my money, not have to pay interest, not have to pay finance charges, definitely not going to pay the late fees. So, that was my workaround. So, since then, I've never done another cash advance off of a credit card. I don't recommend it. Of course, if you have to, emergency comes up, you just have to do what you have to do. But for the record, if you can, pay that money back so you can only get that one cash advance fee for that 30-day period, because they do continue to charge you the cash advance fee if you don't pay it back in full. So that was something that I learned about with paying interest, because you're already paying the interest, and the cash advance fee is a totally separate thing from the interest payment. So if you have a PayPal account, you can use that workaround in order to avoid having to pay that cash advance fee. Another thing is, anytime you have a minimum payment, whether it's $25 or $200, please try to pay at least your minimum payment, because some cards, if you have a $25 minimum and you don't pay it, they give you a late fee of $40. Like, a late fee of $40 for a $25 payment is kind of crazy. But to avoid it, then just pay the $25 minimum payment if you can. The only reason why I could see that anyone wouldn't be able to pay a $25 minimum payment is if maybe you lost your job, or maybe you just didn't have it, to do. But please, if you can, always make your payments on time, because it significantly impacts your credit if it shows late payments on your credit card. And generally, what you don't know is that normally the credit card company will not report that your payment was late until it has been it's been 30 days late. So let's say your bill is due January the 1st. Due date January 1st, you don't make the payment, right? It will not report it to the credit bureau unless you don't pay it by February the 1st. So there's no reason why it should impact your credit if they've given you another 30 days to make that payment. Now, you may have to pay that $40 late fee or whatever the late fees are for the card that you have, but it is very important for you to pay it before it actually impacts your credit, because what creditors do not like to see is that you were late, and they definitely don't want to see that you were late on a payment as low as $25, especially when you're trying to get them to give you more credit. So those are the tips on how you can avoid finance charges, how you can avoid late fees, interest, and those cash advance fees. Also, you want to always try to make sure that your payments are being made, at least even if you have a minimum payment of 25, try to make 30. If it's $1 more, if it's a $25 minimum payment, try to pay 26 or 27, because it always looks good that you've paid just slightly over what the minimum amount is. So those are my tips for avoiding having to pay lots of interest on credit cards, really on any loans or anything that charges you interest, finance charges, late fees. You can utilize these tips, but we are talking about everything credit. So if you guys like this video, found it informative, go ahead and hit a like and subscribe for me, and I will be dropping part 3 of this video, so be looking out for that on my channel. Thanks for watching.